you want to kick off a new year, 2025? How about with a 19-point victory for the Denver Nuggets at home over the Atlanta Hawks? The fans here in Colorado Social, they love it. We love it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to love about this Denver Nuggets performance. Welcome to Nuggets Postgame Live, presented by your local Front Ridge Toyota dealers, Katie Winge and Chris Dempsey. Breaking down really fun game. Really fun way to start off a new year. The offense was humming for this Denver Nuggets team. You have 7 players finish in double figures. I mean, there are so many little numbers that you could pick out here. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Oh, I have no idea, to be honest with you. There's so many good ones. You know, we were just talking about this just a couple of seconds ago, and this is just one of the most perfect offensive basketball box scores that you'll ever see. I mean, from the shooting percentages all over the place. They made all 21 of their free throws as well. Assists, everything. Fast break points, 76 in the paint. This is a basketball team that is averaging over 120 points per game this season. It's wild. And I think the calculus for this team is changing just a little bit, because I think there's a lot of, and look, rightfully so, we need this team to play a little bit more consistently defensively. But this is not a hold you to 110 points, defensive unit. It is not. But if you can put 139 on the board, and more often than they are doing this on a regular basis, then you'll still be okay.
I know which stat I want to talk about first, because it's my favorite when it comes to this Denver Nuggets team. The ball was popping, Chris Dempsey. 44 assists on 53 made field goals. Everyone was eating tonight. The table was set, it was full, everything was being passed around, the dishes were on display, and this is when this Nuggets team is really at their best.
Yeah, so when you're looking at these highlights here and you see what you see a lot of with this basketball team is that, just cutting action everywhere. And look, some of that is baked into the sauce of their offensive scheme. They run actions that are designed for cutting, and then some of that is just players cutting. And I think one player can actually really significantly impact that. And I think that player really is Russell Westbrook, because he's always moving and always cutting. And then he allows Nikola the chance to cut. We just heard Russell say, if I can make the game easier for Nikola, I want to be able to do that as well. Well, what he does is he draws defensive attention, and Nikola cuts in behind that. We've seen that a couple of times as well. So this team moves the ball better than it ever has, moves bodies better than it ever has, and it just shows.
All right, time now to go all in, presented by Ball Corporation, the starters for the Denver Nuggets. I mentioned 7 players in double figures. All 5 Denver starters finished with double figures. I mean, it was a very efficient night. The team as a whole shot 56% from the field. You look at those assist numbers. How about Nikola Jokic? Another triple-double. Didn't take him long to get a triple-double in 2025.
Yeah, it didn't. He almost had it at halftime, to be honest with you. And look, the assist and rebound numbers for him are just massive. You see them right there on the screen. 17 rebounds, 15 assists, obviously 23 points, plus 31.
Plus 31.
I mean, that's just, so, but look.
Otherworldly.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, he is the engine that makes this team go. And, when you're an opposing team, what you don't want is his impact in the rebounds and assists the way that he had them. And this is in response to you, right?
So, yeah, me and Caitlin were going back and forth on Twitter a little bit talking about Nikola Jokic, and I said Jokic is everything. And she said, we, us average folk, are all human beings. Jokic is a human doing. He is always doing something incredible, and I felt like that was the perfect culmination of who Nikola Jokic is, what Nikola Jokic does, and how we all just get to admire his greatness every single night he steps on a basketball floor.
Yeah, he's super smart on the court. He understands what he's doing at all single time. Like, you read any situation, there's not a player that you put in front of him that he cannot score one-on-one against, so that is a thing. And then there's not a defensive coverage that he hasn't already seen that he cannot get deciphered and get the ball to the right player. He really is the ultimate offensive weapon when you are talking about a player to build around and to have an offensive philosophy built around. He's second to none.
To your point earlier, let's talk a little bit about Russell Westbrook, because I do think Westbrook has made Nikola Jokic's life easier. That might be one of the reasons why his triple-double numbers are up. But what has Westbrook brought to this team, and particularly to this game tonight?
Well, I think from an offensive standpoint, you're talking about a guy, see this, just the drives, the constant driving to the rim, constantly putting pressure on the defense to be able to keep him out of the lane, which they just cannot do. I mean, there's a layup right there. And when you have that element in your offense, it's just the ability to start to really put things in defenses in rotation. This is a pretty funny tweet as well.
It's amazing. This is how we feel. We didn't know what to expect, and we have loved every second of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that we knew he was going to bring was a bunch of energy. Now, I'll say this. He is playing a much bigger role with the Nuggets than he ever played with the Clippers, and I think he loves that. It energizes him. So, you know, it's this like symbiotic relationship, right, where the team is energizing him because of how they value him and how they are using him, and then he, in turn, energizes the team with how he goes out and handles his business.
Westbrook, in the last 3 games for the Denver Nuggets, 16 of 19 shooting.
Yeah, but it's just right at the rim.
Efficient.
Yeah.
Efficient.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take our first time out here on Nuggets Post Game Live. When we come back, hopefully we'll hear from head coach Michael Malone, get his thoughts on this Denver Nuggets win, and still to come, comedian Brad Williams is in the house.
Right. Yeah.
He'll join us as well. Advent Health reminding us to never underestimate the human spirit.
Guys had a whole 2 hours and 8 minutes to fix the table, and no one fixed the table. Very disappointing.
Coach found defense in that third quarter, second half. Is that the difference tonight?
Yeah, I mean, at halftime, I just told our guys, this is embarrassing. I mean, there were too many examples in the first half where we were just literally jogging back. And it looked like we're just trying to outscore teams. And, you know, that might work in the middle of the season. That might work for a stretch of games, Vic, as you know. But so if we're going to be a team that's serious about winning at a high level and trying to make the playoffs and win a playoff series, you can't just give up 70-plus points in a half and allow teams to just outrun you in transition and crash the glass for offensive rebounds. And to our players' credit, and that's third quarter especially, 24 points allowed, only 35% from the field, only 2 fast break points, and then we were able to kind of get our offense going. We're elite offensively. We can score with anybody. The numbers are just insane tonight. 139 points, 44 assists, 21 fast break points. But when we play some defense and we rebound, I mean, we're just so dangerous, and we did that in the second half.
Do you think being so good offensively makes it more of a challenge to get guys to buy in on the defensive end?
It shouldn't, because, I mean, we've won a lot of playoff series. We've won a lot of playoff games. We won a championship, and you do that by playing defense. And it's a really dangerous habit to get into, thinking, oh, we can just outscore them. Because as these games, and this is going to be a hell of a month for us. We're playing some really good teams. If we think we're just going to go out and outscore everybody, we'll be sitting at home watching the playoffs as these teams are fighting and playing, you know, April, June. And so we just have to understand that defense has to be really, you know, obviously important. We've got to be a lot more disciplined, and we have to have that want to. In the second half, we had that. We only gave up 49 points in the second half, and that was the difference.
Is it frustrating, or that they can kind of flip a switch like they did at half, or is it comforting knowing that it is there? How do you approach those two halves?
I would say it's a comforting frustration, if there's such a thing. I mean, I love the fact that I know that this team, you know, can score the basketball at a high level, and we can do it very efficiently, and we can do it playing team basketball. I mean, we lead the league in assists per game. We lead the league in fast break points per game. We lead the league in paint points per game. So you love that we have that in our arsenal. But I know for us to be a dangerous team and a team that can advance, the defense has to be there, and it's got to be a lot more consistent. And I said to him at halftime, I said, I love the fact we're 7-3 in our last 10. And I love the fact that we have the number 2 offense in that stretch. But what pisses me off is we have the number 22 defense in that stretch. So, yes, we're winning, but we're not winning right now the ways that we need to in order to build the necessary habits so we can beat the best teams in this league. And we've already shown we can do that. And if we play the right way, and it's going to be tested the rest of this month and the rest of this season.
What do you see that was different beginning of the fourth quarter from that group that was different from the Detroit game when you end up having to put the starters back in?
Well, they were out, they executed, they scored, they got stops, you know what I mean? And they didn't allow a 20-point deficit to go all the way down to 12. I mean, it's really simple. And those guys did a much better job of that, where we didn't have to go to our bench, back to our starters, rather.
Coach, did you give out a defensive player of the game chain tonight?
Yes, I did. Nikola Jokic. Yeah, I thought Nicola's 14 defensive rebounds. They run a ton of pick and rolls. I thought his levels with Trae Young were outstanding. He had a bunch of deflections, a block shot. He was really good. I thought Jamal was really good defensively. Obviously, if you look at Jamal's numbers for the month of December, they were outstanding. And, I thought he was really good on both ends of the floor again tonight. I thought Christian Brown had some great moments. And, Russ is going to bring it every single night. But I just felt Nicola's impact in guarding all those pick and rolls and being a dominant rebounder for us, which ignites our break, was really impactful.
I asked Russ about the defense after the